Good morning, everybody. We were getting ready for the next trial, the next day of trial, but it seems that the defense rested. So the defense rested. They're not calling Brian Walshe, a big surprise to everybody. So I actually realized that my microphone is not plugged in. So let's try to plug in the microphone.
Give me 1 second, just make sure my microphone's on the right microphone. Okay, looks like we're good. Okay, so anyway, the defense rested. No Brian Walshe testifying. Nothing going on. And now they just immediately moved on to the charging conference and closing arguments tomorrow morning. So we are all getting ready, but no case by the defense. No case by the defense. And questionable when you open up in your opening statement and you say, Brian Walshe is going to tell you this. He's going to be taking the stand. He's going to be saying something, and now you don't even call him. So as much as the jury is not supposed to take that into consideration, but the jury could be thinking about that in the back of their mind. The same way that we kept hearing from Jem Mutlu about how the marriage was strained and the jury just kept being told you're supposed to, you have to disregard it. It's stricken. The jury hears it all. And then they hear again from Alyssa, got her last name, Alyssa Kirby, about this marriage being strained as well. But anyway, so now you've got a situation where in opening statement, and of course, the prosecution is not allowed to use this. One of the greatest things that you do in closing arguments, what I love to do, is to refer back to something that the prosecutor or the defense or any other attorney mentioned during opening statement. And you show how that wasn't true. And I love to do this. Mr. Jones mentioned in opening statement that he's going to be showing you this or that he expects the evidence to show this. Well, did the evidence show that? Not at all. And you're able to show that, you're dealing with an attorney who's not being transparent. And that's always a good point for your side to show that the other side is not being as honest. So you can't do that in this situation. I see some questions. So let me just take a few questions here on this. Okay. So just to be very clear, Brian Walshe is not taking the stand. So Jenny Lou wants to know, good move or bad move, your thoughts. I'm assuming what you mean is not taking the stand. And the answer to that is that I don't see how Brian Walshe could take the stand in this case. The amount of time that he lied and covered it up. And then what? The jury's supposed to believe him for anything else? He's admitting that he went on this lying escapade for 5 days, 6 days, very calmly lying to everybody. And now that you're going to calmly say the truth, like you have absolutely no credibility at all. It would be like Casey Anthony taking the stand. If you watch that trial with Casey Anthony and her attorney also said that she lied for weeks and that's how she was raised. She was raised to lie. Would there be any point at all of Casey Anthony taking the trial in that case? No. So here you've got Brian Walshe, where the defense already admitted that he lied, and he went on lying, and that's what the prosecution showed. And by the way, it wasn't overkill. Something that we saw, I think, with the Casey Anthony trial is that there was so much overkill with how many times Casey Anthony lied. I mean, there was just so much. It was just a bunch of overkill. In this case, I don't think it was. I think the prosecution laid out the points, showed that he lied enough times with enough people. There's no way that he could have taken the stand. And then if he would have taken the stand, they could have asked him, what did you do to her? What did you do to her? What did you use the hacksaw for? What did you use the hatchet for? What did you use the hammer for? When did you wear your Tyvek suit? Getting into all the details of exactly where's the body? Where'd you dump it? How many Lowe's buckets did it take? How many Home Depot buckets did it take? Where'd you put the head? I mean, this would be questions that they're able to ask Brian Walshe if he's admitting that he dismembered her. He's admitting that he did that. Well, that's relevant to the case. See what he did. It's relevant. You can make arguments about how relevant it is for the murder charge also. So, I don't see any way possible that he could have taken the stand. And even if he's the greatest liar in the world, it's still, the jury already has absolutely no reason to believe him for anything. So it can only hurt your case. So yeah, I think that, it's a good move that he didn't take the stand, and I don't see how he could have taken the stand. As Mud said, I'd be very surprised if he did testify. But he didn't testify. But also has a very important question, huge question for BC. Is that tea or coffee? The answer to that is that it's coffee. I know that you expected it to be tea because you like to hear all the tea from me, because that's what I do on this channel. I just spill the tea. Not. But no, it's actually coffee. And that's obviously very important. But it's my first coffee of the day. Poetic Joseph, is this a joke? It's not a joke. There's no, and I think also part of it, I think some of us were kind of waiting to hear maybe he has some experts talking about sudden unexplained death. I think they were expecting that. So again, if you're just joining us now, there is no trial today because the defense rested without calling any witnesses. So, as the trial channel says, the defense has rested, and you can always trust the trial channel. Okay? Not just because she's a moderator of this channel, but she has her own channel, and she does amazing work. And you should all go sub to her channel, taking all these trials and breaking them down, getting rid of all the breaks so you can have a much easier time and enjoyable time watching these trials. So, yeah. Let me see what else we have here. First of all, Lisa G is a new member. Thank you, Lisa, for becoming part of the BCU membership, Brother Counsel University. Let me try to catch up on the comments here because I'm a little behind. And I don't know if there's any more questions, but we can take them. Avon Bird, Lady OK, so Brian chickened out. Blood Rocco, the prosecution cannot make reference to the defense saying Walsh would testify, right? Absolutely. You're not allowed to mention that at all. You're not even allowed to say any sort of inference about it. You can't argue that, the prosecutor opened up and said that Brian's going to testify or implied as much. Can't do that. Absolutely not allowed to do that. So it's a taboo, but the jury could still be thinking about it, which is why you got to be very careful. You got to be very careful in opening statement to say Brian Walsh is going to tell you something. If you don't know 100% that he's going to be taking the stand. Lonnie Young, what expert explained the sudden death syndrome the defense promised in opening statements? Well, that would be the medical examiner. I think his name is Richard Atkinson. He testified on behalf of the prosecution, but while he was being asked questions, the defense, Larry Tipton, when he got up, he was asking all about sudden unexplained death. So he did get that in through the medical examiner, but he did not have his own experts. And by the way, also, no Trooper Proctor, former Trooper Proctor, no Buchanan, and none of that. Defense may be counting on an appeal due to the phone evidence. I mean, that's true. I mean, it could be they're going to be, hoping for that. Because there was no warrant for the phones. This was a litigated issue in this case. Was there a warrant for the phones? And there wasn't. So, but they made some other arguments why the judge allowed it in. And there's a few different arguments. We broke that down, actually. There's a lengthy evidentiary hearing about it, which is what should happen, by the way, because in case you're coming from the Karen Reed world, you're like, oh, there's never an evidentiary hearing for the benefit of the defense. It's only for the benefit of the Commonwealth. But in this case, we saw that, no, there was an evidentiary hearing for the benefit of the defense. Eventually, the judge made a ruling against the defense. So we'll see what happens with that issue. That may be appealed 100%. Do you think there's a deal? Excuse me. Do you think there's a deal? No, I don't think there's a deal at this point. Jody, thank you for becoming a new BCU member. Very important question. Oh, and how's your back? And I know that this is a very important question. I'll tell you why. Because we spoke yesterday that I had a game, an ice hockey game last night. And the question was whether I'm going to play in that game because it was playoffs and I'm still trying to get my back together. And I also had some sciatica pain. And, it was just taking a long time for it to recuperate. So, for me to recuperate. So I wasn't sure what I was going to do. Now, there was a playoff game last night. I asked everybody in the chat, what do you think I should do? Should I not play? And it seems like most people said I should play. So I got home after yesterday. And also, it just happens to be that, like, the two best players on our team were not able to make it last night. So that also just throw that into the mix. Also, our goalie wasn't able to show up, so we had to get a substitute goalie. And so my son really wanted to come and watch the playoff game anyway. So he kept saying, come on, you can play, you're a beast. So, he kept telling me that, and how can I say no to that? So I decided I'm going to try. So I strapped up the skates, put on the pads, went and played in this playoff game, and we lost. And we lost for a few different reasons. I scored a goal, actually, but we lost. And I felt great. I mean, the bottom line is that I felt great. I felt good playing in that ice hockey league. And by the way, I am playing in an ice hockey tournament. As you can see, this beautiful jersey behind me, that was from last year's tournament. God willing, I am scheduled to play in this RCCS hockey tournament. I know you guys haven't heard that from me in a while, so I have to mention it. And I need to raise a little bit of money, so the link is in the description. If you can give any sort of money, that would be wonderful. Great donation, great cause. It's an organization that helps families that are stricken with cancer. Now, coming back to the game last night. It's a playoff game in my Wednesday night league. So I have two leagues. I have a Sunday night league and I have a Wednesday night league. The Wednesday night league is a little bit not as talented as a Sunday night league, but it's a pretty good game. And so we played in this game, and I played I felt amazing. I actually felt great. I was surprised because I thought I was going to feel a little bit, because I still felt a little bit before the game, but I felt nothing. I felt amazing as I was playing. And even after the game, I felt good, which at my age is you got to count your blessings. So that was great. And then, so we played in this game, and the problem is that, and I know that this substitute goalie, I'm not sure who he was, and he just kind of showed up, and we were kind of stuck. So we got this substitute goalie, but I'm not sure if he understood the sport, the sport of hockey, which is why they went up like 4-0 in the first 3 minutes. So it was kind of the situation where, he took, as soon as he steps on the ice and you're starting to take some warm-up shots on him, you're like, this is not going to go well. And that's kind of my feeling. As he played the puck a couple times, I was like, oh, this is just not going to work. And I was right, because the score ended up being 8-2. And one of those goals was mine, by the way. But we lost, but it was still fun. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who wins and loses, right? As long as you all have fun. So we had a great time. And then so the Sunday league is still going. And then we're going to start another league probably after January, after the holidays, for the Wednesday night league. So that will continue. Don't worry. The ice hockey will go on. Don't you worry about that. But thank you for the question. So that's a long-winded way of saying my back is fine. Thank you, Jenny, for the question. Okay. Little Miss. Brother Counsel, what was the argument the Commonwealth made about him not taking the stand and about their opening? I don't remember any Commonwealth argument about him not taking the stand and about their opening. I don't remember any argument like that. So if you do, great. Let me know about it, because I don't remember anything. Little Miss, Brother Counsel, do you know if there are any lessers? Not that I'm aware of at this point, but they can be requested. They can be requested by the defense. They can be requested by the and I didn't see the charging conference, and maybe they'll ask for some lessers, but I think the prosecution feels very confident about its case, and so would I. By the way, if I was a prosecutor, I'd be pretty confident about my case as well. By the way, Jenny says, I love the trial channel. Everybody does. She does amazing work. Maud says she suddenly died after being stabbed multiple times with a knife. I'm wondering how she died, and I'm not sure if I want my mind to wonder about that, because I'm concerned it was in a very gruesome way. I mean, he needed a lot of baking soda, 12 pounds of baking soda. Rita Simpson, good morning from Dublin. They spoke about Brian Walshe trial on Irish National Radio today. Look at that, because there were some discussions about that Anna Walshe took. Christine Ann says, hi, BC, finally here on a live. Unfortunately, there's no trial today, so we're just hanging out for a little bit. I'm, just having a good time. But there's no trial today because the defense rested, and they decided not to call Brian Walshe, which, of course, was the right decision. You can't have him on the stand. So I'm glad that you're here, too, but there's no trial today. Closing arguments, if you're just joining us right now, closing arguments are going to be tomorrow. Glad your son convinced you to play. Yeah. So yeah, we had a good time. He was able to watch. He had some friends there. Unfortunately, I mean, we lost, but he was able to see my goal, which is actually a pretty nice goal. So, okay, what can you do? Good day, all. I'm a true gem. You are a true gem. Good day, all. Good day, Renee. Good morning to you. Northwest, thought on including M2 as a lesser. Yeah, I mean, maybe. They could. I mean, if they convict him on either one, he's going to be going away for the rest of his life anyway. So they could include it, but I think the prosecutor is pretty confident in their case. I would if I was them. BC, does this mean I may see you on Confidential again? Well, I don't know, because the way that I usually work with them is they have me on about once a week. I already had my appearance this week, and next week there's probably going to be already a verdict. So I don't think in terms of Canton Confidential, there's going to be any more shows on Brian Walshe, that they're going to need a legal expert like myself to chime in. But they're friends of mine at this point. I'm friends with them at NBC Boston, NBC 10 Boston, should I say? And we'll see what the next show is, the next case that they decide to try to cover. Mars and Mash, I'm from sunny, warm South Florida this morning. Lisa, do your kids play hockey? So my kids do play hockey. And by the way, if you're just joining us now, the defense rested, so there is no case today, no trial today. We're just hanging out and talking hockey and some other questions that people may have. My kids play hockey. So my kids all play rollerblade hockey. They don't play ice hockey yet. Really, my oldest son just started getting into ice hockey a little bit himself. But they are absolutely amazing at rollerblade hockey. Really, you would not believe your eyes if you would see how good they are in rollerblade hockey. I mean, these are my eighth grader, my ninth grader, my 10th grader right now. They're just amazing. Give me one moment. I'll be right back in a second. Yeah. So they want to play ice hockey, but I got so much going on. And if you want to play ice hockey the right way, if these kids, if they want to pick it up themselves, that's one thing. But, if you really want to be committed to the ice hockey thing, it's just, and all the kids are going to want, I can't just do it for one. I mean, they're all going to want to do it, and then it's just going to be a lot of time that I just don't have. So, but the rollerblade hockey is very easy. They play right down the block. They play at the school, I don't need to get involved and get them dressed and sit at this rink, whatever it is, So, They'd probably like to, but they're so amazing at rollerblade hockey, and they have all these other sports that they're good at also, so they don't really need it. Here's $1 million question. What is the next trial you will cover? That's a great question. So I'm not sure when Courtney Clenny's trial is going to be scheduled. I'd like to cover that case. I think Aaron Spencer was scheduled for some time in January. I don't think Curry Richens is going to be for a little while either. So I think we have a few months for that one. But we'll have to see. I mean, we'll have to see what next trial you guys are interested in. Coffee's cold, by the way. Oh, look at that. Defense filed motion asking the state not mention defense promised testimony in opening. Okay, I'd like to see the motion, and I assume it's going to be granted. Because any sort of suggestion or question or putting in the minds of the jury why somebody didn't, why the defendant denies is really encroaching on the Fifth Amendment. So it may very well be granted. And it could be the prosecution won't even fight it because they have such a strong case. They're not going to fight it. But sure. I'd like to see the motion. Well, Trial Channel says they're going to be back at 10:30. I mean, what are they going to be back at 10:30 to discuss? Do you know what they're going to be discussing at 10:30? They already went through the charging conference. So, like, what's next on ruling on some motions? Let me see. Okay, I mean, here, look, if you guys want to see it, I'll show you what's going on there. I mean, there could be some sort of charging conference. This is what's going on. So, all right. When they come back, we'll come back. I guess if they're coming back at 10:30, if you guys want to hang out for that, maybe we'll do that. I think they already had a charging conference. Miss says that I'm assuming 10:30 will be the charging conference. I don't know. Trial Channel, can you let us know what's going on at 10:30? Because I thought they had the charging conference already right after the defense rested. Kerry Carter says BC, and he had that cut on his hand before he went out and bought the hacksaw, etc. Also, I really wanted to know if that knife they found above the refrigerator was from a set. Did he have that cut in his hand before he went? How do we know that? How do you know that? They took that picture by his booking. How do you know that he had it? I think that they had some evidence that he bought a Band-Aid and antibiotic cream from, like, he bought it after, like January 1st or 2nd. How do you know that that cut was there before? I'm so confused. Is this good or bad, and for whom? If anything, it's not good. I mean, it's not, it's for the defense to not have Brian Walshe testify. I mean, you have to not have Brian Walshe testify. You can't have him on the stand. So yeah, he can't take the stand. The jury's going to be thinking, hey, you told us he's going to take the stand, and now he's not taking the stand. They will be thinking that. So it's not good in that way. But he cannot take the stand. He can't do it. Good morning from Massachusetts. Hello from England. I'm very curious to see what happens with this case and really enjoy the differences between UK and US law. Jenny wants to know, have you ever got put in the penalty box? have I ever caused a penalty? And the answer to that is yes. I think most hockey players will eventually get into the penalty box, whether you like it or not. It doesn't have to be an intentional tripping. If you trip the guy, you're going to go into the box. So I don't intentionally get penalties. I don't intentionally hit somebody. But if I'm going for the puck or whatever it is, and you may hook a guy, you may trip a guy, and it's not intentional, but it's still a penalty. So yes, I've been in the penalty box a couple times. Talking about roller hockey, I used to play roller hockey in my younger times. From 7 years, I missed it so much. That's how I started. I started on rollerblade hockey, and I was pretty good actually at rollerblade hockey. And then I eventually moved to ice because as you get older, it's the opportunities to play rollerblade hockey are a lot less. And definitely in Michigan, there's a lot of ice hockey leagues all over the place, so it's much easier to get into ice hockey. And that's what we did. So I moved over to ice hockey. Also, I know Little Miss wants me to cover Preston Lord. I'm not sure. I have to take a look at that case. I know you sent me an email about it. It's January 12th, maybe pushed, so we'll see. Maybe we'll cover that case. Corey Richards is in February of this year? That would be pretty cool. Okay, so that'd be great if it's in February. Did the defense put on a case at all or just rested after the prosecution rested? They rested today. The defense rested today. So, I mean, it was jury comes back today, sit in the courtroom, wait. They eventually get called into the court, and then the defense rested. So really, this could have been done yesterday, and then they could have figured this all out, and then the closing would have been today. But they didn't. Sarah Grace Patrick is January 8th. Okay, so we got a number of January trials we have to look into now that this case is over, basically. I mean, there's going to be the closing tomorrow, but whatever. And yes, if you're just joining us now, the defense rested. Brian Walshe is not going to be taking the stand. So now they're just at some sort of charging conference, and then there's a little break. We'll see what happens there at 10:30. Yeah, so the trial channel says that all they're doing is just agreeing and finalizing jury instructions, which is, the charging conference. That's what it is for. So it's nothing too interesting. So we'll see if we're still here at 10:30. Pro Gamer, member for 8 months. Take a look at that. Hello from Brussels. Did the defense rest? Yes, the defense rested. Thank you. Captain Rate Snuggler. Bro Counsel, New Jersey case, Canario. Brother killed entire family and set house on fire. Supposedly will be televised. May be interesting to cover. Pretty gruesome right there. Thank you. Good morning from Southwest Texas. Ice hockey doesn't exist here, much like how winter doesn't. What about Dallas? Doesn't Dallas have a hockey team? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so I don't think there's anything really interesting going on in court today. They're just finalizing the jury instructions. So what I think we're going to do is we are going to suspend the live stream today. Unfortunately, I know we're having so much fun hanging out, but If we're not going to be watching the trial, then there's definitely some other stuff that we can be taking care of and doing. And so I guess what we're going to be doing is we're going to be coming right back here tomorrow for the closing arguments. And we'll see how quickly the jury comes back with the verdict. Here's just this comment from Kerry Carter. Kerry Carter said that Brian Walshe had the cut on before he bought the hacksaw. So Brian Walshe bought Band-Aids and had his hand wrapped with gauze in one of the videos. I believe he went to Walgreens or CVS. That was before he went to Home Depot to buy any of those items. All right. Well, then the question is, were those items just used to dismember Anna Walshe, and did he already kill her some other way that caused the cut? Mud is getting nervous. Oh no, BC is sentencing me to go back to work. I know, Mud, you're able to multitask, so I have no concerns. I know you're able to work and at the same time do 10 other things. So, everyone's here. Jenny Lewis to go get some work done. Boo, boo. Don't end the stream. Boo. How common is it for the defense to put on no case? Common. And that's, depending how bad the evidence is against you, what type of case you're going to put on. I mean, it happens. It happens plenty of times. Trial chances, everyone get to work. Yeah. Well, we have to figure out how to keep you all busy. So we have to go back to the drawing board if there's going to be no trial today. We'll see what type of filings came in. Maybe some new filings on Karen Reed. Maybe some more stuff on Turtle Boy. Maybe you have to start looking into some of these other cases, and we'll have to put out some content for you. So. All right. Well, anyway, that's going to be it for today, guys. I'm sorry. No trial today. We'll see you all here back tomorrow for the closing arguments. Take care, everyone. Thanks for joining.